If you're watching this right now, you know it's not a coincidence. Your intuition led you here, and deep down inside, you know that. This message is for those that are just now awakening on their path and learning to trust themselves again. You know, intuition's the funniest thing. In Western society, we are told to think logically. We are told to have the facts present in order to prove that we are right about a person, situation, or thing. Many people don't want to listen to you just because you're going based off of feeling, just because you're going based off of, I just have this deep knowing inside my gut. And when we learn to really turn that around and listen to ourselves again and what they call trust our gut, we can then learn how to create the reality that we really want. Our intuition is extremely powerful. And when you're first waking up on the journey, it can feel really strange because with how society operates, especially Western society, and depending on the household that you grew up in, you were told that having intuition is not okay, especially if you grew up in a very toxic household like I did, where we really didn't question our intuition because we were gaslit and manipulated into being told that, no, you're wrong. I wasn't acting that way. No, that situation didn't happen the way that you thought it did. And oftentimes it leaves you very confused. It leaves you very, like, I don't know, betrayed in a way because you're betraying yourself, right? You're saying that I can't trust myself. I guess my memory's not as good as I remember. Or maybe I'm reading too much into how that person is and how they are behaving. And I'm here to tell you that when you're awakening onto your path, it is okay to start trusting your intuition again. You need to start trusting yourself because when we trust ourselves, we can really move through this 3D reality with such conviction and very empowered because when you trust yourself fully, nothing on the outside of you can persuade you that you feel any different, if that makes sense. And, you know, we really need to uncondition ourselves and let go of the past betrayals and say, okay, what if I start trusting myself again? What if I just let go of all inhibitions and really just fully follow my intuition? What could go wrong? You know, I was somebody who was in very divine masculine energy for a very long time. And so for me, I really needed to weigh my options. What are the pros and cons? What ifs? What if this happens? What if that happens? Well, you know, I've done this in the past, and based off of my conditioning, I can't really move forward with that because it's scary. It's the fear of the unknown, it's the fear of failure. And when you really shift and you begin to really move within and trust your soul and higher self or God even, and you move into just this trust, this complete surrender, you then can move through this reality with such ease. It's the fact that sometimes we need to control. And understandably so, we've been so conditioned to think that how could my intuition even be right? I was told all my life that I didn't know what I was thinking. I was told all my life that that didn't occur. So how could I be right about this? And it's funny, I'll give you a story. Example, have you ever been in a situation before? And this goes out to my empaths, where everybody in a room absolutely loves a person, but deep down inside you, you know something's off about that person. That's your intuition. That's that deep knowing that you know that something's not right about that person. And you can also gaslight yourself in that situation too, because you're going to say, well, maybe it's my past conditioning. Maybe it's just me. It's my personality. I'm an Aries, and, they're a Scorpio, and, I just don't think like that. And you know what I'm saying? And you can justify it all you want, but deep down, you know that something isn't right. And then a situation occurs where that person may get exposed, or that person may get, you know, outed with some stuff that they have done behind closed doors. And you're like, oh, I was right about that situation. And you were like, that feels so justified. That feels so good. So that's what I'm talking about with trusting your intuition. But what if from the get-go you didn't question that? You just knew, I don't like this person, and I'm not going to convince myself that it's something wrong with me that I don't like this person. And whether or not in the 3D reality that person gets exposed, it's okay. I don't have to like everybody. And have you ever been right about a situation as well? For example, I had a friend in my early 20s who had such strong intuition. She was like absolute goals when it comes to trusting yourself. And I was with her, and she was like, hey, can you come with me over to like this person's house? I have to grab something. I'm like, sure, no problem. We go over there. Well, it turns out it was a house party. And we're out, and we're like, well, we might as well just stay, because I used to be wild in my 20s. And we're like, we'll just stay. And so we're staying. There was all sorts of crazy crap going on at this house. And all of a sudden, we're in the backyard, and she goes, we need to leave right now. And because I trusted her intuition so strongly, I left with her. While we were leaving, about 7 cop cars pull up, and 2 cops come up to us, and he goes, were you all leaving that party over there? And we go, oh no, we were just visiting our grandma or aunt or whatever we said. And the guy was like, oh, I'm so sorry to bother you. You guys have a great night. And we left. Everybody there got busted in some sort of way. Okay. And I just was like, wow. And that spoke volumes to me, because she has gotten us out of other interesting situations too. And I was like, wow, isn't that amazing that she just had this knowing? She trusted her knowing that much, that she was saying, let's leave now because of that. And I didn't even question it. I said, absolutely, let's just get out of here. Right. And that was me trusting her and just have this deep knowing. And so what I'm trying to say, and why I gave those examples, is that we have got to move out of that past where we said never to trust our intuition. We have to move past that logical mind, that thinking mind. And we need to start thinking with our second brain, our higher self, right? That deep, deep knowing. And if you feel that way, if you think about a certain situation that way, doesn't matter even if a million people disagree with what you're saying. If you know that deep down inside, then that's your truth. That's who you are. And that is your reality. And don't let somebody else make you second guess that. Don't let somebody gaslight you into thinking that that's not correct. And when we start trusting ourselves more and more, we can realize that life is guiding you, your soul, God is guiding you into something much bigger than you can ever imagine. And by trusting yourself and surrendering to what is, you can truly come up top, right? It's not about needing proof. Let go of needing proof. Just choose trust, right? Trust that first inner nudge. And it's funny, you'll still navigate life like this. I wish, it does get easier to discern and to say, like, this is the way I'm going to move in my life based off of my inner knowing and my intuition. And every once in a while that happens. You can get caught up in life, right? And it will just bring you back into knowing to trust your intuition. Sometimes we need those tests from the universe too, right? We need those inner knowings to be like, oh, yep, my intuition's still strong. Should have definitely trusted that, and it will get much stronger because it's funny too, because the universe will stop things sometimes, right? Like, I have another example too of I am my certain dietary restrictions, right? Like I'm a vegan, and right now certain people are getting exposed in a certain niche of veganism. And I've always had a feeling about this person in this sub niche of veganism, and I've always known that. But he was one of those people where everybody kind of thought he was wonderful, but I was like, something's not right about this guy. Like, I just know that deep down in my soul, like, something's really, really off. And I kept doubting myself, though, which is really interesting. I kept saying, like, okay, maybe I'm just having resistance because of a certain protocol that he follows and is suggesting others follow. I said, maybe that's what I'm having so much resistance with. And over time, it's like I didn't really like, I don't know, I just didn't like groove with him either, right? So I didn't really attend like any of his talks. I haven't really watched anything of his because I was like, I don't know. And then recently he just got exposed for who he truly is. And it's funny because it's like, okay, I should have trusted my intuition much stronger. I did, in a sense, trust it because I thought it was resistance to something else. But truly, all this time, it was resistance to him and who he is. And we just got to keep moving forward. We just got to say, okay, that was another test from the universe. I got it, right? I will make sure next time, right, that it is so much stronger. Um, that I'm more in my path. I'm more in tune with being present of what is really going on in my deeper inner knowing. And since we create our reality, wouldn't it make sense that our intuition would also tell us when something within ourselves that's being reflected on the outside of ourselves isn't correct either? It's just something to think about. So I want you to sit there and really reflect on what we have talked about today in regards to intuition. Have you been really trusting yourself lately of who you really are? Or have you been really kind of ignoring it, kind of masking it, manipulating, gaslighting it, and not really trusting who you are? You letting others dictate how you should feel, what you should think about a person or situation. And the more that you sit with yourself and are able to meditate, the more stronger your connection is going to become. So, if you found this video to be helpful, like the video, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one.